Treasure your bodies while you still can, because soon they'll be trembling with fear at the sight of a little horror film called Torso. This is the 1973 giallo horror thriller that definitely needs more recognition in the slasher community. Welcome to day 5 of my Sergio Martino Director Dedication Week. But before we get into it, make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. Even $1 a month will help keep this channel going on strong, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Also hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe. Alright, let's get into this. The plot. After a few murders, one or two actually, a group of girls decided to go to one of their uncle's villas. However, the killer has followed them. Let the stalking and slaying begin. It's a pretty bare-bone plot that leads into a solid film. Torso has elements from many a slasher, from the first-person stalking visual style to the plot line itself. This really reminded me of 70s and 80s slasher films like House on Sorority Row and Black Christmas, as well as 90s slasher flicks like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Valentine. Although this is much better than the majority of those titles I just mentioned. Girls going away to escape the troubles back home, only to have the killer follow them? It's cliché now, but back in 1973, this was an interesting and innovative idea. Now, this isn't even close to the first giallo film, but it is one of the earlier ones to adapt to the slasher formula. This film is also extremely sleazy and filled to the brim with TNA. The film opens with a pair of breasts. A stark contrast to the film's whole style is the climax, which is riddled with tension and brutality and a graphic nature. Right before the climax hits, the red herring of the story, Stefano is released of his title, and the chaos ensues. Neither here nor there, but Stefano, played by Roberto Pisacco, kind of resembled Alan Alda from MASH in my eyes. At least my eyes. I don't know about everyone else's. I honestly did not see the twist coming. Not only that, but Martino basically switches the main lead actress to another woman, like Dane. Our main heroine for this film is Jane, played by Susie Kendall from The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. She sprains her foot in the latter half of the film. By the climax, she's hobbling around and trying to evade the killer. The tension reaches its peak when she thinks she has escaped, which leads to a part where I literally gasped. This is clearly a 70s picture where we get psychedelic orgies, crazy music, and dirty people, mainly old perverts. The orgy scene does lead to the most atmospheric chasing I've seen in a long time. It takes place in a swamp at night. The film does have some weak attempts at trying to explain things, from the red herring to the killer's motives. This is still an entertaining watch regardless. Often the killer wears a ski mask, but this also makes it like a lot of slasher films, covering his face, concealing his identity. A similar attire would be worn by the killer in Dirty Harry a year later. I don't think it's the same color, though. Oh well. Speaking of the killer, how are his acts of murder in this motion picture? Let's find out. The gore, the effects, we get several slashed throats, a crushed head, a concealed hacking of bodies, and a torso cut open. The effects are not amazing, but they are quite a deal more graphic than the usual early giallo fare, which is nice. The motion picture soundtrack, Guido and Marzio DeAngelis composed some great music for Sergio Martino. They're also known as Oliver Onions, and have composed music for Martino films like After the Fall of New York, which I reviewed for the first day of this week, which I'll put a link to it right up here, or here, whichever site it's on. They also did the music for Killer Fish, The Last Shark, and The Shark Hunter. there are some decent themes here. The standout is the music from the orgy scene. This is an excellent little slasher. GLO slasher, that is. It's very sleazy and cheesy. I mean, sure, some things needed better explaining, and the effects are not that great, but I still had a lot of fun. I'd highly recommend Torso, especially for GLO fans and early slasher enthusiasts. Overall, I give Torso a 3 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the Horror Show host. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. Even $1 a month will help keep the channel going on strong, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, hit that notification bell, and as always, subscribe.